Good morning from New York and welcome everyone to the high-level political forum side event, Sulitest SDG14 launch. We are all citizens of the ocean. It gives me great pleasure and it's an honor to be here today to moderate the side event, which will launch the SDG 14 module, training module, and educational tool. And hopefully will be the start of an engaging and dynamic exchange moving forward among policymakers and other stakeholders interested in the health and future of our ocean. Our event today is divided in a few sections. We have welcome remarks. We will have a short video by the Special Envoy of the Secretary General for the Ocean, Ambassador Peter Thompson. We will have an opportunity to experience a quick quiz and test of the module itself. And then we will hear from three groups of stakeholders and policymakers that all interact on a daily basis with ocean issues and have, of course, responsibilities and interest in taking this forward. We will have a short question and answer session, probably not too long, depending on how our time progresses together. And then we will go back to the panel and a closing, wrapping up for today. But hopefully this is just the beginning of an exciting partnership and opportunity to engage moving forward. With this, I would like to just give a few remarks before handing the floor to our lead partners on this exciting project. My name is Birgitte Brühl. I am a Senior Economic Affairs Officer in the United Nations Division for Sustainable Development Goals. And one of my areas of work is the upcoming UN Ocean Conference in 2022, Ocean, Water, and Sustainable and Consumption and Production Issues. So with that, DESA is delighted to see the launch of this specialized module for Sustainable Development Goal 14, Life Below Water. It's the second time that DESA has contributed to creating a specialized module of SDGs in partnership. And the first collaboration we did took place in 2018 and was related to sustainable energy and SDG Goal 7. We would like to thank the organizations and our leaders in this exciting project, especially Sulitest and Mercator Ocean International, for leading us and guiding us through this partnership of the project, and the vast array of experts, organizations, academia, and NGOs that have been involved in developing the detailed expertise, questions, and all the elements that go back to this enormous work of creating such an online tool. We had the first meeting on this tool almost a year ago, so it does take quite a while to put together. And we're very excited to see how it will work and how it can be useful to all of you over time. Ocean is the Earth's largest ecosystem, and it's an essential component of all life on Earth. The importance of a healthy ocean for a sustainable future is widely recognized by the international community, and of course, the United Nations member states. They, early on in 2017, decided to convene the first UN Ocean Conference on SDG 14 and have since launched and recorded more than 1,600 partnerships of different sorts on ocean issues. This SDG 14 tool is a very important contribution to the work globally and locally, for that matter, on promoting a healthy and productive ocean. Our office, the Secretariat for the UN Ocean Conference, take great pride and work tirelessly to keep the momentum going for ocean issues and towards the 2022 UN Ocean Conference. Regrettably, due to COVID-19, it was delayed and postponed from 2020. But there have been plenty of action at all levels, and we are only excited that we can now look forward to a conference that will take place 12 months from now in Lisbon, Portugal. We hope you will join us, of course, and we also look very much forward to today's event and to hear from the many different groups that are involved in the development of the module, but also participating in the event today through our chat component. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure and it's an honor to introduce our first speaker of the event, Mr. Aurélien Deschamps. Mr. Deschamps is an associate professor at Kedge Business School and doctor in economics. His research is in the field of regional and urban economy. Aurélien is co-founder and general secretary of Sulitest.org. Sulitest is an independent French NGO accredited to UNEA, whose core mission is to expand sustainability knowledge. Sulitest has an observer status with the UN Environment Assembly and also a special consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. So Aurélien, without further delay, please I leave the floor to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brigitte. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure and an honor to open this special event of the High Level Political Forum. I am the co-founder of Sulitest. As you mentioned, Sulitest is led by an NGO with 2 UN accreditation, and Sulitest is an international movement that we launched to develop online tools on a platform called Sulitest.org to mainstream sustainability literacy. We are convinced at Sulitest that if sustainability mainly comes from human decision, often taken in a professional context, we truly believe that we need to expand sustainability literacy beyond the experts, beyond the advocates, the already convinced. We need to make sure that any citizens and decision makers have at least basic sustainability literacy. This is our core mission at Sulitest, and to fulfill that mission, we developed online tools on Sulitest.org to enable educators, facilitators, and advocates to raise awareness, to monitor progress on sustainability literacy, and to engage students, staff, or other stakeholders in a journey towards sustainability literacy. Our main tool is an online awareness test designed as a formative tool with learning statement and benchmarked score available for any university, corporation, institution, or other organization worldwide to invite their students, staff, or stakeholders to test and to improve their sustainability literacy. We are quite excited because the movement is accelerating with more than 200,000 people having taken the test worldwide and 1,000 organizations registered on our platform. And we want to promote a systemic vision of sustainability as it is embedded in the SDGs framework. For that, we have several modules with our awareness test, with an international core module addressing common challenges of sustainability, also 17 country-specific modules and 5 SDG-specific modules. The idea is really to start with the global picture, to make sure that everyone has the global picture, and then to advance in more specific area. And today, we are so happy and proud to launch this specific module on SDG14, which will allow to raise awareness and literacy on SDG14 and ocean, to make scientific and expert knowledge accessible for every citizen, and to collect indicators to monitor progress and identify gaps or area of improvement in SDG 14 awareness. I really want to say an important thank you to UNDESA and Mercator Ocean International, not only for partnering in this SDG 14 module, for endorsing and sponsoring this module, but really to have engaged in a true collaboration and co-construction process. I think launching this SDG 14 module today is really a good example of a multi-stakeholder collaboration for the achievement of the SDGs. And with that, I will thank you very much and pass it on to Pierre Bayruel. Sorry.
Thank you, Aurélien. Thank you, Birgit. So hello everyone, and good morning, good afternoon from Europe. So I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Mercator Ocean International, and it's a real pleasure and honor to organize this event with UNDESA and Sulitest to launch this very special tool for SDG 14. So I'm very pleased to be here with you. What we do at Mercator Ocean International is to produce ocean data. We are monitoring the ocean. So we build a science-based, reliable, innovative, interconnected digital ocean. So this is really what we do, and the goal is to make this information accessible to all. And for this, in Europe, the Copernicus Marine Service from the European Union has been really a game changer. But we are going far beyond this today. In Europe, we form a team with EMONNET, which is another service, with the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO. We are expanding this at the international level, but we know that it's a nonsense to multiply the number of data if we don't give the explanation about the content, if we don't give all the information needed to understand and use properly these information. And this is exactly what this Sulitest tool is about, to really give anyone a chance to understand and take the best from this information. So this is really my strong belief that citizens are really actors of this challenge that we need for assessing the ocean, and this tool is meant to help them. Well, preparing this tool means having some very good experts from different places of the oceanography, and I want first to thank them all. Some of them were from Mercator Ocean International, some from EMONNET, others from FAO, WIOMSA, VTA, from NOAA, from UNEP, from WWF Europe, from the Océano Azul Foundation, CNRS, Fondation de la Mer, IRD, Ocean and Climate Platform, the Foundation of Prince Albert II of Monaco. So these experts decided to work together and to produce this tool. So first, thank you to all of them, because thanks to them, we have something which I believe is really, really helpful and very interesting to see. So let's discover all together what it is about. But before stopping here, I just want to say thank you to Ambassador Thompson, our UN Special Envoy for the Oceans, for the kind words and the real support that we can feel for this initiative. And of course, for you, the Sulitest team and the whole UNDESA team. And as Aurélien said, it's a real pleasure to work together. And so we can really feel the enthusiasm of the team, and I can feel at Mercator Ocean International how my team wants to do more and wants to contribute. So for this momentum, for this enthusiasm, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to developing this further. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these remarks by Aurélien and Pierre. It sets the stage for our work ahead and for the experience we will go through in this side event. It is very interesting. And at this point, we're going to hear a video message from Ambassador Peter Thompson, who's a Fijian diplomat and the Secretary General's Special Envoy for the Ocean. He has been tirelessly leading UN advocacy and outreach effort to mobilize action and raise ambition on implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goal 14. Ambassador Thompson kindly brings his contribution to Sulitest SDG14. Thank you. Please listen to the video.
Greetings to all gathered with us today, and many thanks to the co-sponsors for organizing this event in the margins of the UN's high-level political forum. I'd also like to congratulate the partners involved in the realization of this project, for the successful creation and launch of this module on SDG 14 is indeed a credit to the UNDESA Sulitest Mercator Ocean Partnership, and I've no doubt its launch will lead to greater awareness of the massive ocean issues with which we are faced. In our task of implementing SDG 14, the Sustainable Development Goal to conserve and sustainably use the ocean's resources, it has become increasingly obvious that ocean science must be the foundation upon which the achievement of SDG 14 is built. Is that foundation firmly in place? No, it is not. The majority of the ocean's properties remain unknown to science, which is an astounding situation when you consider that the ocean contains the majority of life on this planet and produces over 50% of the planet's oxygen. If we ask ourselves whether policymakers and the population at large are aware of the urgent need for action to reverse the decline in the ocean's health, we get a mixed response. We can say that with a high degree of confidence, the first UN Ocean Conference held in New York in 2017 significantly raised global consciousness of the need for ocean action. But when it comes to ocean literacy, we have far to go. The first principle of ocean literacy is that the world has one big ocean with many features. This is fundamental to our correct understanding, as it overcomes human mindsets that imagine we can carve up the ocean or ignore the effect that a melting Greenland ice sheet has on the sea levels that flood a Pacific island atoll. And yet how often we hear policymakers and others who should know better refer to our oceans rather than the ocean. And if this is evidence of the upscaling of ocean literacy required in high office, should it be of any surprise to us that SDG 14, our best hope of reversing the decline of the ocean's health, is the least funded of the SDGs. And so for us to have the science we need for the ocean we want, ocean literacy and ocean science will have to become integral to our education systems around the world. As Nelson Mandela put it, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That integration should be occurring right now, from primary school education up to the highest tiers of our tertiary institutions. There's no doubt improved ocean literacy education that positively influences social norms and behaviors will be key to achieving a healthy ocean. This needs to happen at all levels, not only for students, youth, and private citizens, but for all types of stakeholders. Decision makers, both in the public and private sector, whether they have direct, indirect, or no overt connection to the ocean, should make themselves aware of the value to people and planet of the ocean and what is required to protect that value. Ladies and gentlemen, this educational module dedicated to the ocean and SDG 14 breaks new ground in the ocean literacy field. I'm pleased to note that module SDG 14 covers more than the 10 targets of SDG 14, for it also addresses the key role the ocean plays in achieving many of the other SDGs, including SDG 1 to end poverty, and SDG 2 to end hunger, SDG 13 to combat climate change, and SDG 15 to protect life on land. I welcome the prospect of module SDG 14 being promoted at the many ocean and nature-related conferences that are scheduled for the next 12 months, and I look forward to it having a useful place at the UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon in a year's time. I conclude these remarks with the old adage that you should act as if what you do makes a difference, because it does. So with these words in mind, I urge you to try out and support the Sulitest module SDG 14. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ambassador Thompson, for your remark. It is with great pleasure that I now hand the floor over to Ms. Estela Pils, who will guide us all through a window into the SDG14 tool and help us take the SDG quiz, which is a short version of the module itself, and which will help you test the knowledge on SDG14. Over to you, Estela. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for the space to test this quiz today. The quiz is one of the Sulitest engagement tools, educational engagement tools, and it is our most interactive tool, and it is a great way to use it as an icebreaker to introduce topics about sustainable development in a fun, engaging manner. And today we wanted to give you an opportunity to experience this. So I would like to invite all of you to join in that quiz session with me. There was a call to action button appearing on your screen in this webinar platform. I also put the link on the chat, but pretty much all you have to do is go to sulitest.org/quiz, and then once you are there, you're gonna have to add the code SDG14 to join the session. Today, what we are doing is a shorter version of what the quiz actually is. We're having only 3 questions, but the idea is that we have this engagement activity here in the event, and also for you to see how the questions look like, how the Sulitest look like, and learn as well, because as always, the Sulitest tools are here to learn and to raise awareness. So please, I hope you're seeing my screen. Please enter sulitest.org/quiz. And then once you are there, you can put the code SDG14 and you can choose the team as you please. I see that team 2 and team 4 are a little bit, has fewer people, so perhaps you could join that at the moment. And once we have a good amount of people there, we will start. Great, I see the numbers coming up. Wait a few more seconds. And while more people are joining, just a reminder, this tool could be used in the classroom, in board meetings, in events, in conferences as we are doing right now. And it is very versatile, and any institution can use the Sulitest tools just by signing up to our platform. And I hope that you enjoy this experience that we're doing soon. And I hope that you spread the word and use it with your colleagues as well. Okay, I see the numbers still coming up. I'll wait a few more seconds. And yeah, so for those that are still not logged in, just sulitest.org/quiz and then the code SDG14. And I think we can begin. So you can press next on your devices, and then you should be able to see the question, why do we need the SDG14 in the 2030 agenda? And let us know your answers. We have 30 more seconds. So why do we need this SDG? Why is it so important? Everyone from team 1 has answered. Oh, we're missing one person then. And time is up. Let's see the correct answers. So correct answer was option B, to reduce the negative impact of human activities on marine life. And as you can see, every question of the Sulitest will have a comment, and that's a really great opportunity to learn a little bit why is that the correct answer, and have a little bit more information on the background history behind that question. And then we can also see the answers, the correct answers per team. So team 2 and team 4, everyone from those teams got the question right. And then we can go to the next one. So what percentage of excess heat in the climate system is absorbed by the ocean? As was mentioned before, the oceans play such a crucial role when it comes to combating climate change. So let's see. 30 more seconds to send your answers. We're almost there. Three, two, one, and time is up. This one was not as homogeneous as the previous one, a little bit of division there, but the correct answer is actually 90% of the excess heat of the climate system being absorbed by the ocean, really making it evident how important the ocean is for our climate. Let's see now the division for teams. Team 1 leading this question. And next one. I apologize for moving a bit faster through the comments, but we are short in time for this event. But this is the final question for this experience. So what proportions of global fish stocks are overfished? So option A, no overfishing. Option B, 6.8%. Option C, 34.2%. And option D, except deep sea fish, all stocks are overfished. So we have 20 more seconds on the clock. And again, these questions have been created by an amazing expert group from many different organizations that really collaborated and created a set of questions that are really insightful and educational. So let's see. Big division here between option C and option D, but the correct one was option C, 34.2%. And it is time to do something. So let's see the breakdown for team 3 leading this one, and then let's see the overall points. And the quiz, because it has this competition element, sometimes it's really good to engage the audience and the students and board members and staff. And as you can see here, team 3 was a winning one, so congratulations to those that were in that team. And thank you very much for all of your participation.
Thank you, Estela, for this little window into the SDG14 tool through the short quiz. Of course, this is just a brief opportunity to get to know the test, to get to know the module. We do hope that you will all take the opportunity to dig further into the online tool and to see all the different features and areas of substance that you're able to access through the tool. We are short for time, so let me not go more into the details of the quiz. We have Q&A later on. Right now, we will enter into the first session of the program with feedback from policy makers. We have two speakers in this session, Bernard Fries and Anne-France Didier. First, I would like to introduce Dr. Bernard Fries, who has since 2017 been the director of the Directorate for Maritime Policy and the Blue Economy at the European Commission's Maritime Affairs and Fisheries Directorate General. Dr. Fries studied law at Munich University, and his career with the European Commission has included assignments in the areas of international market policy, competition policy, maritime policy, and fisheries, education, and in training. Mr. Fries, the floor is yours. Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad you're with us.
I'm very glad to be with you, Brigitte. Thanks a lot for introducing me, and thanks for your patience. I'm going to say a few words about two things. One is the Sustainable Development Goals, and the other is ocean literacy. We have heard about both already, and I'm not going to go into the numbers of the SDGs or the political announcements and the declarations. I'd just like to say that for us, the SDGs are like a mirror we hold up to ourselves, basically. And whenever you look into a mirror, you look whether you're doing well or not well, and you can see things that you like, you don't like, and whatever you see, it's important that we are really transparent and honest about that. So on the SDGs, I just like to give you two examples of how we think very frankly and transparently how we are doing as European Union at the moment. We have a common fisheries policy, and I think we're doing rather well on that. Fishing in European waters is becoming and is partly already sustainable if you measure it against the standards that we have for sustainable fishing. And you know, we have much larger fish stocks, more fish in the water than we had, for instance, 10 years ago, up to 50% more fish in some parts of our waters. That's the upside. The downside is that we have a broader framework for the health of our seas and oceans, the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, which defines basically what we call good environmental status. And there we have not reached all the objectives and indicators we have to reach. There's a lot of work to be done. A second example, illegal fishing, globally and in our waters, but globally as well. We have taken on the role of speaking to our partners worldwide to remove, cut down, reduce what we call IUU fishing, illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. And this is going rather well. There are many nations with whom we are in conversation, in dialogue, with whom we are working together to improve the monitoring, the management, the practices of fishing. If I move to another area, which is marine protected areas, and there is still a lot of road to be covered, a lot of distance to be covered in our efforts. We have set ourselves the goal of reaching 30% of protected area in our waters and globally. And protected means strictly protected, really protected, not just on paper. And that is clearly an area where, despite some progress, we have to do much more. Now, that's as far as I would like to comment here, and there will probably be many more speakers about the subject on the SDGs. It is something that we need to take very seriously, very focus on with a great deal of effort in a very practical sense. Look at what is happening on the ground and try to make improvements. Now, ocean literacy, and congratulations on the Sulitest game. I think it's a great initiative. Ocean literacy for us is not only about informing or transferring knowledge to the public, to people out there about the oceans. It's about empowering them and giving them agency, helping them to engage in protecting our oceans, and that's what we try to do. Now, one very obvious way to do that is to engage citizens, engage people out there in science. We call that citizen science. In collecting data, in making observations, in feeding back data and observations into the scientific process, in helping us understand better, develop the ocean science, develop the knowledge and the models we can apply to judge whether we're on the right path in protecting our seas and oceans or not. That's something for which there are many initiatives out there already, local initiative, smartphone apps, all kind of things, and that's something we're going to push and support very heavily with the Ocean Mission, our big new flagship project to develop R&I and science in the oceans. And then how to promote ocean literacy at the European Union scale. And I think our objective here is to try to pool together all the different many initiatives that are out there already under one single umbrella to create momentum, to create impact, and to do so with a sense of urgency, to give agency to those who want to have an influence, not just as individuals or as local initiatives, but to be part of the policy effort. That's what we'd like to do. So I'm going to give you 4 examples of things that we, the European Union, have launched to underpin and to help that process. The first thing is that we have created a so-called EU for Ocean Coalition. Now that's an umbrella project that at the moment brings together 115 members, NGOs, citizens initiatives, educational initiatives, public authorities, private players, in one umbrella framework. Now, one of the activities, secondly, they are developing is blue schools. We have at the moment in Europe 36 model blue schools in 13 countries, already about 6,000 students who are learning on curricula about the oceans and who are developing knowledge and engagement in their school curriculum for the oceans. So that's a very concrete initiative. Then we have set up a Youth for Ocean Forum, and one of the features of that forum is to support young advocates, youth advocates for the oceans. At the moment, we have 77 of these young ocean advocates who are involved in more than 20 projects, and that's sort of something that's open to growth, exponentially. We'll be inviting many more young people to join that initiative. Then a third action we are undertaking is we are trying to raise public awareness through big platform events, and we will organize them in the European Union in our 5 sea basins: the Mediterranean Sea, the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, the Atlantic, and the Celtic Sea. We had our first event for the Atlantic and the North Sea in May. We'll have a second one for the Baltic Sea end of August in Helsinki. Jan-Bart Kallewaard is in the call. I think later on he will explain how we are organizing that. And that's basically to give a public platform for oceans and ocean literacy. As part of that, we have launched also an advocacy campaign. So that is for policymakers, for figures of influence, for politicians, for economic leaders, to make personal pledges, and to explain and to commit how they are going to support and work for the oceans. And then, as a last example, we have set up a European Atlas for the Sea. So that's a digital tool. It's an online tool that allows you to create digital maps on anything that relates to the oceans, whether it is nature, tourism, security, energy, transport, the sea bottom, the bathymetry, sea level rise, fisheries, you name it. Now that's something that can be used, for instance, in schools to be part of the curriculum or as a basis for courses. That can be used to make tailor-made maps and to compile maps according to your needs for young people, for students, also for everybody really who is interested in the oceans. Again, I think Jan-Bart is going to explain all that. So these are a few tools. I think they go in the same direction as your Sulitest SDG14 tool. And I think it's through these kind of initiatives that we can really reach out and promote an engagement for the oceans that needs to be not only based on knowledge and on facts, but on an emotional connection that we need to have towards preserving that hugely important life system for all of us and for our society. So thank you very much for being here, and I really look forward to listening to the next presentations. Thanks.
Thank you, Bernard, and thank you for joining us in spite of all the technical challenges. And we're so happy that you'll stay with us for a little bit during this event. Ms. Didier is a high-level ocean expert, and she's coordinating SDG14 at the delegation to the sea and the coast in the French Ministry of the Sea. She also steers the French National Initiative on Underwater Noise. She was the director of the French organization Plan Bleu, interfacing science and policy by producing prospective studies and scenarios to promote the protection of the environment and sustainable development of the Mediterranean Sea. Ms. Didier, the floor is yours.
Do you hear me? Good morning, Madam Chair, dear Birgit. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor to be invited to this UN-led event and to have the opportunity to support your very interesting tool to explain also how France is engaged for the implementation of the SDG 14 and support your dynamic of we are all ocean citizens, because we have in France the equivalent French community called Génération Mer, Génération for the Sea, and quite active in education, literacy, and to preserve all the ocean. So next slide, please. As you know, France has the responsibility of the second economic exclusive zone in the world, which 11 million kilometers square. And so we are highly concerned by all ocean challenges and have a big responsibility at national, regional seas and international level. Next slide, please. In 2020, Annick Girardin, you see her photo on the screen, took the head of a new ministry for the sea. It's a big sign that we are also interested in showing how we can promote SDG 14 as a governmental level. Next slide, please. So I will briefly describe some of the major commitments of France for SDG 14. You know that 30% of the French economic exclusive zone has been already designated as marine protected area. France achieved to protect 75% of coral reefs by 2025. We decline also specific action in 6 regional seas convention we are part of, ACOBAMS to protect also cetacean species. First of all, under the umbrella of the European Union and its legislation, France do a lot to fight against marine pollution and specifically against plastic. You know that. With some recovery plans and the ambition to stop by 2025 the discharge of plastic in the sea. It's a big challenge, but we will try to. Next slide, please. So, under the European Common Fishery Policy, France fights against all IUU fishing and promotes the reduction of all greenhouse emission, especially from shipping. We have the challenge to reduce this emission by 40% by 2030. And we put that on the agenda of the IMO. But I hope we will succeed, but we'll see. I wanted especially to highlight one initiative, French initiative from Fondation de la Mer, who is present, I think, today with us. And because we have, by the Ministry of the Sea, highly support this initiative, Ocean Approved. I think it's the first one in the world with a new label, Ocean Approved, to help all companies to identify and to reduce their pollution and impacts on the ocean. Next slide, please. So you know that French diplomacy and focal points and a lot of representatives of our governments are investing a lot of energy to address all ocean challenges with a lot of islands, ocean and climate change, acidification, stop to marine litter, high ambition coalition for nature and people, and with our presence in a lot of international conventions, which are all connected, highly connected with the protection of the sea and the implementation of SDG 14. Next slide, please. So I put this representation on the screen because we have built this type of representation to show how we are convinced that SDG 14 is interconnected with all SDGs and vice versa. We cannot achieve SDGs 14 targets if we don't address SDG 12 on sustainable consumption and production, if we don't better manage water with SDG 6, if we address carbon sovereignty such as SDG 13. So we know that to success we need to address this preoccupation, reducing pollution, land-based pollution, changing production and consumption, and carbon sovereignty, and we have to talk to all civil society to success. Next slide, please. So the next slide was to the previous slide was to introduce this one. We are convinced that to success we need the engagement of the civil society and of all citizens living near the sea, but also living on the top of the mountains, because we all know that with the water or air cycle, all go to the sea. So we have to be we have to convince all people in every part of the world. We need to improve education and tools at every level to reach children, but also to reach all adults, to reach workers and decision makers, to reach companies of any sectors and any type. So it's very important to build new tools such as Sulitest SDG 14 and such as the one developed by the Fondation de la Mer. So we completely congratulate the creators of this very important tools, and I'm very proud to be there to say that. And we will do our best in France and with all our friends and NGOs or schools or ministry involved in SDG 14 to help you to disseminate this tool in every part. We will be able to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alphonse. I'm so glad that you brought up the issues of the interconnectedness and close linkages between the SDGs, the comprehensiveness of the 2030 agenda and addressing one SDG linking to addressing other SDGs. Also, the approach of engagement at all levels and with all sectors and groups. And of course, the most important part for our exercise today, the need to improve education and knowledge around the ocean and the tools that we have available to address the challenges ahead. We are going to jump straight into the next session on stakeholder perspectives. And we will hear from members of the SDG14 expert working group that helped prepare the module. First, we're going to hear a message from Joe Selesny, who is a colleague who works at the Fisheries Division of the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. He is a member of the working group, having conceived Sulitest SDG14 module, and in that context is very aware of the elements within. Joe, we would love to hear your statement. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Zelazny, and I am a fishery officer in the Fisheries and Aquaculture Division of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. FAO is the UN agency dedicated to ending hunger and poverty. Our mandate includes promoting and securing the sustainable use of aquatic resources in support of global food and nutrition security and advancing socioeconomic development of dependent communities. FAO joined the development board for the Sulitest module on SDG14 because we recognize the importance of promoting sustainability literacy as a way to enhance international efforts to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and in particular SDG14, Life Below Water. We see humans as a part of nature, and so we believe that the increasing pressure that human activity is placing on natural resources must be fixed through managing our actions rather than by staying away from nature. That's why we say that management is the best conservation. The Sulitest SDG14 module was designed to reach a broad public audience and raise awareness about sustainable development in the ocean. If we are to succeed as a society in overcoming the many challenges the ocean faces, while ensuring aquatic ecosystems continue to be an important source of food and nutrition and to provide livelihoods to hundreds of millions of people around the globe, it is important that people understand the nature and scope of those challenges. Our hope is that by creating greater awareness of these challenges, people will be inspired to action and contribute to the collective efforts to achieve SDG14, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources. The ocean lies at the heart of the 2030 Agenda. It provides development pathways to achieve a more prosperous, peaceful, and sustainable world in which no one is left behind. The ocean is an essential component of our planet's ecosystem. Its resources support human well-being and livelihoods, and it is critical to global food security and must be managed to support achievement of poverty eradication for a growing world population. Marine and coastal ecosystems are critical to the livelihoods and nutritional needs of coastal communities in developing countries, and in particular, small island developing states. More than 3 billion people rely on fish for animal protein, and some 300 million people find their livelihoods in marine fisheries, 90% of those in small-scale artisanal fisheries. Global average fish consumption is increasing, and fish consumption in SIDS is 3 to 4 times the global average. Rising ocean temperatures and ocean acidification are altering ocean ecosystems and affecting the livelihoods of communities that depend on fisheries, in particular in developing countries. Climate change is modifying distribution and the productivity of marine species. These challenging conditions will test our ability to manage capture fisheries and aquaculture. Approximately 34% of commercially important assessed marine fish stocks are fished at biologically unsustainable levels, and 66% within biologically sustainable levels. Overfishing, illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, and destructive fishing practices threaten fish stocks and livelihoods. Unmanaged expansion of aquaculture can have adverse impacts on the broader marine environment. To overcome these challenges, FAO supports its members in integrating the SDGs into national development plans and coordinates the work of 4 SDG indicators under SDG14. In addition, the program of work of FAO in fisheries and aquaculture contributes to progress across a range of other SDGs, including SDG1, no poverty,
That's
SDG2,
clear, yeah. It's
zero
just that
hunger,
before
SDG5,
I didn't have this black
gender
box.
equality, and SDG13, climate action, among others. To this end, in 2019, FAO convened the International Symposium on Fisheries Sustainability, which provided a set of collective technical solutions to make aquatic food systems more sustainable, resilient, and socially just. These collective solutions inform the Kofi Declaration for Sustainable Fisheries and Aquaculture, a negotiated political document by FAO member countries endorsed by the FAO Committee on Fisheries in February of 2021. This declaration adds political weight to our efforts and outlines a frank but positive vision for fisheries and aquaculture in their contributions to the 2030 Agenda. FAO will bring this vision to the UN Food Systems Summit later this year and to the Decade on Ocean Science for Sustainable Development over the coming 10 years. And with that, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the launch of the new Sulitest module on SDG14 to promote a healthy and productive ocean for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joe, for this helpful message. I'm Jan Bard Kaelwert, who is heading the Secretariat of the European Maritime or Marine Observation and Data Network, a long-time marine data management and sharing initiative, which is supported by the European Commission Directorate General for Maritime Affairs and Fisheries. 2 members of the EMOD-NET have joined the working group and have participated in conceiving the Sulitest SDG14 module. But Jean Bard, the floor is yours, and we look forward to hearing your intervention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Birgit. I hope you can hear me well. And I see the presentation is loaded, so thank you. Good morning, and good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. And thank you also to the organizers, Mercator International, Mercator Ocean International, and partners of the Sulitest SDG14 for the kind invitation to share our perspectives at this very exciting launch event today. And I would like also to start by congratulating the team for the excellent work done and its results, which really look very good. We are very proud to have contributed as a community with several experts to this endeavor. And in the coming few minutes, I will try to explain a little bit why this is important to us, how we've contributed, and what other ocean literacy activities we are involved in, with some reflections on possible synergies and further ways to cross-link and potentially promote the Sulitest SDG14 module in Europe and beyond. And I think my presentation and intervention fits very well after Mr. Fries's opening, as some of the initiatives that we are involved in are on behalf or for the European Commission Director General for Maritime Affairs and Fisheries, and have already been mentioned. So before I start, would like to say just a few words on what EMOD-NET is, the European Marine Observation and Data Network, for those of you who are less familiar with it. So EMOD-NET is a long-term marine knowledge initiative funded by the European Commission DG Mare. It's a marine knowledge broker service, so we provide open and free access to marine data, products and tools. It's a very large and inclusive network of experts, data providers, product developers implementing the service. So it's a very large network involved. It's also very complementary and aligned with other data services in Europe, such as the Copernicus Marine Service, where we provide data and products primarily from surface to seafloor, with focus on in situ data, collected data. So our network's activities and services are really centrally located along the marine knowledge value chain, if you like. And as such, our mission is really to make sure that the investments in collecting this wealth of observations and data are made openly available to generate the information and knowledge we need to help us tackle some of the grand ocean challenges we face. And by making these resources available, this leads to better informed professionals and citizens, which help to guide their decisions based on facts and scientifically sound information. So, as a trustworthy source of free and open data and information products, initiatives such as EMOD-NET and Copernicus Marine Service are really critical in generating this marine knowledge we need to manage our ocean resources to reach the Sustainable Development Goal 14 and all of the interlinked SDGs. And as such can also be considered in a way as the EU contribution to the global community, supporting the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development and the UN Agenda 2030 SDGs, with in particular reference to SDG 14. So naturally, when we were invited to become part of the Sulitest project and contribute to the working group, and underpin some of the questions for the test module, we very much welcomed this invitation, and we were eager to accept and contribute to both the development of the tool, but also to assist with its promotion. But at the same time, we also find it interesting to learn from this innovative approach to potentially apply them in our own ocean literacy activities and tools, and to consider further synergies. So why is SDG 14 awareness so important to us? In my native language, which is Dutch, we have a saying which goes, onbekend maakt onbemind, which freely translated means something like, what is not known is not appreciated, and what is not appreciated is not cared for. And we all know that it's not easy to take difficult political decisions if there is not a broad societal understanding and support for such decisions, even when these are important, urgent, and well understood problems, and even proven and known by our scientists. So within our network, there's a long time understanding of the importance of SDG 14, and it's really at the core of our mission and vision objectives. And we also feel that we are very well placed in this pyramid of knowledge to contribute to several, if not all, of the target outcomes of SDG 14, and also have a responsibility to help raise awareness to these objectives. For that reason, on an individual basis, most, if not all, of our partner organizations in the network already contribute at the local, national, and regional level to various ocean literacy information tools, activities, and events. And equally, EMOTNet itself, as a network and service, is very active on SDG 14 and contributes to several tools and initiatives to help raise awareness and disseminate information among citizens and society in general. I will raise maybe the most important ones and reflect on possible synergies that we could explore further. I think the first one, which I won't go too much into detail, Bernard already mentioned earlier on, as a data initiative, we are very much engaged in and aware of the potential of citizen science activities, because we have a win-win situation where we enrich our information and data gathering and ingestion facility and our pool of resources, while at the same time creating informed and engaged citizens, and that is very important. And this is a series of initiatives that we will continuously and more and more be involved in the future, so that the importance will only increase. The second initiative that I would like to highlight, which was already raised, is the European Atlas of the Seas, which is a digital communication tool to provide students, teachers, non-expert professionals, and interested citizens with a wealth of information. It's truly an interactive tool that allows people to find answers to questions they have about the ocean, the seas and coasts. And it's largely powered by EMOTNet Maps, so it's also an outlet of the wealth of information that we collect. It's managed by the EMOTNet Secretariat, but we also have many layers from the Copernicus service, the European Environmental Agency, Eurostat. And it's also a tool that's available in 24 languages, which allows us to reach a very, very wide audience in Europe. Both the Sulitest SDG14 and the Atlas aim to encourage people to learn more about the ocean, how we influence the ocean, and how the ocean influences us, and that's very important. Within the Atlas, there is also a teacher's corner that includes a quiz section with questions on biodiversity, and a treasure hunt, which builds on the reverse pedagogy approach to raise awareness in an interactive way. And this is something that we will also further expand, and we will take on board the lessons learned in the involvement in the Sulitest module to enrich also the teacher's corner, but potentially also there are opportunities here to add references or even embed the Sulitest module into the Atlas main feature, or hyperlink at least, or possibly also link questions to specific maps and information resources. there's a great opportunity here. Another important initiative that we are actively supporting is the EU for Ocean Coalition, so Europe's ocean literacy platform that Mr. Fries has already mentioned earlier on. Again, here, I cannot go too much into detail in the scope of time, but there are plenty of opportunities here to echo some of the messages that we want to convey. There are ocean literacy festivals, and there is a call open on how we can contribute to that. This is something that we could definitely see how we can collaborate on. There is also the Make Europe Blue campaign, which started in May, which has very similar aims to the Sulitest objectives of making people more aware of SDG 14 and why this is important. And finally, of course, there is Sulitest itself. I think we are really impressed by the results and would like to congratulate everybody who has worked on it. It's really an innovative approach set against the more traditional top-down methodology, which has its limitations. I also think one of the strengths of this module is the broader framework. It's extending beyond the ocean issues, able to reach out to many more people and a much larger audience than just those that are already interested and connected to ocean issues. And another interesting thing that has not maybe been brought up that much is that it also allows, by having the respondents added to a database, it allows to process that information and have insight in the evolution of the understanding of the SDGs and prioritize areas of knowledge that need to be tackled more. So this is also an interesting opportunity. And finally, as I mentioned, there are plenty of opportunities to develop synergies via IMOTNet, EU for Ocean in collaboration with Mercator Ocean International, and European Atlas of the Seas that we are looking forward to elaborate with the team in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean-Bart. That was extremely interesting. We are definitely short of time, so I would like to jump straight into our next group of stakeholders, the youth perspective. We're going to, I'm sorry, I think I missed Clémence, I so apologize. Clémence is graduated from the University of Paris-Saclay with a master's in adaptation to climate change. She started to work at the Fondation de la Mer early this year to manage the Ocean Framework and Award project of the foundation. And Clémence, the floor is yours, and apologies for almost jumping ahead. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, no problem. Well, thank you very much for the invitation to participate in this event. It's a great honor for me. So, at the start of this century, humanity is facing two major challenges, climate change and the loss of biodiversity. In this context, companies have a key role to play. Their contribution is absolutely necessary to meet the challenges of sustainable development. However, despite the fact that the ocean provides ecosystem services essential to the survival of humanity, the specific SDG dedicated to the ocean, the SDG 14, is the least reported by companies. Therefore, Fondation de la Mer, in conjunction with the French Ministry of Ecological Transition and the Boston Consulting Group, designed a tool, the Ocean Framework, to enable companies to understand their impact on the ocean and to reduce it or even cancel it. So here is the Ocean Framework, where you will find on the left side the types of potential ocean and business interactions. So these interactions have been classified under 3 axes. The first axis is what the company is likely to discharge into the ocean. So we called it pollution, acidification, and global changes of the marine environment. The second axis is about what the company is likely to sample in the ocean. We called it exploitation of marine and coastal resources. And the last type of interaction, the last axis concerns all transversal subjects and interaction between the stakeholders in the company, such as, for example, the integration of SDG 14 in the company's strategy and operations. So these interactions are broken down into 10 types of impact. So this is the green column. For each type of impact, we offer concrete levers of action and a selection of measurement indicators. So in total, we have 44 levers of actions and 44 indicators to enable companies to identify, to measure, and to set goals to achieve, and therefore progress in the management of their impacts on the ocean. So the ocean framework is an operational translation of this SDG 14 for companies. So it covers all the targets of SDG 14, but also the SDGs interdependence, a hard word, sorry. So the ocean framework can be used by every company, whatever its size, whatever its sector of activity, and whatever the geography. We also have a scientific committee dedicated to the framework to guarantee its robustness over time. Concretely, the ocean framework takes the form of an Excel table and is available in free access on the dedicated platform named Ocean Approved. I put the link here for you. So the ocean framework was for us the first step to mobilize companies. The second step is what Anne-France Didier explained earlier, is the Ocean Approved certification. We launched it a month ago, and it is based on the ocean framework. So the goal here is to mobilize businesses in a process of continuous improvement and to highlight their commitment. And finally, I would like to say a few words about the consistency of the ocean framework and the Sulitest SDG 14. These two tools, they share the same objective, which is to enable citizens and companies to better understand this SDG 14 and their connection, their link to the ocean, but also to commit to build a sustainable future and to make informed and effective decisions. So concerning the Sulitest SDG 14 building, my colleague from Fondation de la Mer, Isabelle Anouet, joined the expert group and helped develop the module. She found really interesting the scientific popularization work and the multi-stakeholders perspective. So the Sulitest SDG 14 is really in line with Fondation de la Mer vocation to raise awareness of ocean-related issues. So of course we will promote the Sulitest SDG 14 to our stakeholders, children, our network of scholarship recipients, the general public, and of course companies. Because restoring and protecting the ocean is one of the defining tasks of our time, and we must reorient our economic and societal systems to long-term objectives so that we create a sustainable future for the ocean, but also for us, for humanity. I hope I was quick enough, and I give you the floor back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clémence. That was very interesting. We're going to jump straight into our third section of the event on the youth perspectives. We're going to hear from two representatives, Thomas Lesage and Emma Wright. Thomas, you will have the floor first. Thomas is a young French entrepreneur committed to the protection of the planet and the oceans. from September to January, in 2018, he made a worldwide sailing tour during which he could witness how far our ocean is in danger. During the tour, he created a non-profit organization, Children for the Ocean, and trained more than 200 kids in 5 different countries. Today, Children for the Ocean is a worldwide community of more than 450 members who have committed to act for the protection of the ocean. It also counts 7 ambassadors worldwide who are also young and willing to contribute to save the ocean. Thomas, we look forward to hearing about your experience. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So before I start, I would like to thank UNDESA, Sulitest, and Mercator Ocean International for the opportunity to speak before you today. So my name is Thomas Lesage. I'm 17 years old, and I am the founder of Children for the Ocean, which, as Brigitte explained, is a non-profit organization dedicated to raising children's awareness on the necessity to protect our ocean. So I grew up in Brittany in France next to the sea, so I have always been very close with the ocean. But it was only when I realized as a kid that our ocean was in danger, and more importantly, that we humans depend on our ocean, that I decided to act and try and make a change. So personally, I never had the opportunity in school to learn about our ocean, to learn about its biodiversity, and the role it plays in our planet. And still today, we, at least in France, we are not taught enough about the ocean and its importance. And if we don't have the knowledge, well, we ignore what's at stake. So, which is why in 2018, I founded the NGO Children for the Ocean. And in this NGO, our main objectives is really to try and raise children's awareness on the current state of the ocean and the urgent need to protect it. So the message we are really trying to make children understand is that we cannot live on Earth with a dead ocean. And we really want to make sure children and the whole civil society really understands this connection we share with our ocean. So to do so, we are forming a community of young ocean ambassadors all around the world, all dedicated to delivering awareness sessions. And we now have 12 and not 7. We now have the chance to have 12 ocean ambassadors in 9 different countries. And we have delivered awareness sessions to more than 800 kids around the globe. And thanks to Mercator Ocean International, we were able to share oceanic data with the children in the most accessible and simplest way possible. And what we have noticed every time is that children, they are willing to act. They are willing to protect the ocean and willing to preserve their future. But almost every time children lack the basic facts. For example, most of them ignore our ocean produces more than 50% of our oxygen, or that it regulates our climate or absorbs our CO2 emission. And if we want to give children our willingness to act and to make a change, we need to at least share this knowledge to make them care and to make them act. Ocean literacy needs to be a part of children's education, which is why Sulitest is an amazing project that will allow us to share the knowledge in a very accessible way while educating children and the whole civil society as a whole. We as a generation need to be more informed, to know more about our ocean, to care for it and to protect it. Sulitest is definitely part of the solution, and I really think education is essential if we want to overcome climate change, and education is essential if we want to have a bright and sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for this extremely precise and encouraging statement and an excellent example of why we have so much young leadership on ocean and climate issues today, which gives me great hope, honestly, for the future. So next we are going to hear from Emma Wright, who is a young ocean advocate based in Canada. She is one of the Children for the Ocean global ambassadors. And Emma, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me at this amazing event and for allowing me to share my thoughts on this incredible initiative. In addition to being an ambassador for Children for the Oceans, I'm also a third-year university student studying biodiversity and ecology, along with environmental sciences here in Canada. Today, I'm here to share my perspective with you on ocean sustainability and conservation of a healthy ocean. First, I would like to begin by explaining why I am committed to such goals for the ocean. I have always been fascinated by the ocean. However, my perspective was greatly influenced when I spent my grade 12 years sailing aboard the Honolulu tall ship with Thomas with a program called Class Afloat. During my 9 months aboard the ship, myself and my fellow crewmates, we sailed over 18,000 nautical miles. We crossed the Atlantic Ocean twice and spent thousands of hours at sea. As with many vessels, they do not remain in one place for very long. Therefore, as the only common factor throughout our journey, the ocean became our home. So with so much time spent working and living alongside such a powerful natural force, I developed a great admiration and respect for the ocean. However, it was evident that my values were not shared across the globe, as we frequently encountered trash and other pollutants, including gas spills along our heading. I vividly remember watching the vast patches of sargasso drifting along the surface of the Caribbean Sea, littered with every kind of human trash one could think of. It was really heartbreaking to watch, as prior to this leg of our journey, we'd been fortunate enough to scuba dive in Brazil, where we saw firsthand the immense amount of life that the ocean supports. Knowing how these peaceful habitats were constantly under threat and suffering was not something that I wanted to accept. I felt as though the ocean's cries for help were not being heard, and I didn't want to sit idly by and accept it. On Class Afloat, myself and another one of my crewmates, we created the Ocean Conservation Division, where we implemented ocean-friendly initiatives into daily life aboard the ship. Although the size of our initiatives was somewhat impacted by our situation and our environment, our point of creating a healthy ocean did get across and was very well received by our peers. Living on the ocean encouraged me to research the connection between our lives on land and how the ocean works to stabilize life everywhere on the planet. What I learned showed me that without a healthy ocean, all environmental, social, economic, and even cultural systems are at risk of collapse. For these reasons, I believe that conservation of a healthy ocean and sustainable use of the ocean is necessary for all aspects of a successful planet. To continue, as mentioned earlier, I'm an ambassador for Children for the Oceans. So as an ambassador, like Thomas was saying, we plan sessions to lead in schools to share pertinent information about the ocean with young minds. The goal of these sessions is to spread awareness to youth and to plant the seed in their heads that every single action they make and they do makes a difference, no matter how big or how small. Additionally, I've compiled a few of my personal research papers and made them into a presentation which I've given to my fellow ambassadors. The goal of this presentation was to widen all of our knowledge on specific threats to the ocean, so namely coral bleaching and ocean acidification, were some of the topics among the presentation. And just lastly, I would like to quickly discuss why Sulitest SDG14 is important for connecting youth with creating and maintaining a sustainable ocean. From my perspective, I believe that Sulitest SDG14 is an imperative factor in connecting youth to a sustainable ocean because it is more than just loose guidelines. It provides tools that students can use with or without the help of their professors, teachers, mentors, etc. These tools provide not only basic answers, but aim at truly engaging youth in the conversation on sustainability. As a young adult, I frequently find myself overwhelmed with the constant flow of information that is readily available to me. And most times I find that there's so much to learn that I don't know where to start or where to get my information from. Oftentimes, I also feel a sense of helplessness when it comes to the threats facing our planet and our ecosystems, and I know that I am not alone in feeling those things. The climate crisis looms over the heads of many people my age and younger as well, and it can be difficult to find ways to educate ourselves properly and to get involved. This is why I think that Sulitest is a great tool. It provides us with the information that is useful and that we can trust. And for these reasons, I believe that youth will feel more encouraged and less overwhelmed when it comes to being active members in change for our planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. Very encouraging words indeed. We're going to jump straight into our brief question and answer session. We have a very large number of participants that have been active on the chat, I am told, and we are very close to the end of our event today. So I have been informed that we have 3 questions we're going to bring out, and apparently the first one is aimed at me. So I will go straight ahead. The question is there any SDG14 global assessment report published by the UN? Well, there are quite a few, in fact, I would say. We do have a report specifically addressing ocean and the cryosphere, which is one of the IPCC assessment reports, which goes into great detail on the state of the ocean. We do have a global sustainable development report, which is launched every 4 years, and I believe it came out last year. And then we have detailed reports coming out from the different partners of the UN system that work on ocean-related issues. Of course, it includes my own Department of Economic and Social Affairs, but certainly also UNESCO, FAO, and others. So I guess the short version is there are many reports. I do encourage you to visit our UN Ocean Action website. I think you will find a lot of information there. But in general, there's a lot of information available. Also, the High Level Political Forum has in-depth reviewed SDG14 at one of its recent sessions. So that is another opportunity to read. And of course, we have the outcome of the 2017 Ocean Conference and the background document that has already been released for the upcoming Global Ocean Conference. So I think I'll leave it here in the interest of time, but thank you for your question. Let's go to number 2. This is a question for Pierre. Do you provide any indicators useful to the SDG14? Pierre, please go ahead.
Well, I hope so. What we do is that we are monitoring the ocean. It means that we are monitoring the essential ocean variables that are the temperature, the currents, the acidity, the ice coverage, everything you must know about the ocean environment. And we do this on a real-time basis, but also with simulation of the past decades with 3 dimensions, so that it is really possible with this to derive indicators to monitor something that you need to know. So I can multiply the number of examples. We have state report. Every year we release an ocean state report to explain where we are, what we know, what are the main features that can describe the ocean environment for this year. And this is something that is prepared by the best experts in Europe and peer review, etc. And based on that, we have started a work with Eurostat and the European Environment Agency in Europe to work on the global ocean acidity indicator, because this is something that has been identified by the EU as very important for the SDG14. And we have prepared these indicators. We have worked with these agencies and organizations to prepare a special contribution of the European Union to the SDG14. So I'm very proud to say that the satellites that are flying, the buoys that are at sea, the experts, the scientists that are running models, and they are the people that are preparing everything, assessing, qualifying, preparing these indicators, and then the experts from these environmental agencies, the Eurostat and the SDG, are connected to really propose this kind of indicators for the SDG14. So this is a real concrete example of a value chain that can reach the target, and we will continue and expand the number of indicators. We are monitoring heat content, sea level, etc., and so we will continue. Yes.
Thank you very much, Pierre. We are going to jump to the third and final question, which is addressed to Aurélien. When will you be able to share the awareness rate of Sulitest SDG14? Aurélien, over to you. I hope this is clear.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, to be able to release the awareness rate on SDG14, the first thing that we need is people taking the test, actually. So my brief answer to that will be a call to action. Please register on the platform, on the sulitest.org platform. You will see that Sulitest is a tool for organization, so you can register with your organization to try the test for yourself and, of course, for your staff, your students, or other stakeholders. And the more the test is used, the more data we will have on the awareness rate of SDG14 and its progress over time, and we will be able to release it. So I just want to point out two ways of releasing the results of this test. We will continue this conversation in a special event in the upcoming IUCN Conservation Congress in next September. This will be a first way of displaying these results. And of course, we are disseminating our annual report every year at the HLPF. So I think we can meet on the next HLPF to discuss the result of this SDG14 module.
Thank you very much, Aurélien. And I will add to that by saying I hope we will all meet in Lisbon, Portugal for the UN Ocean Conference, even before HLPF next year. We've come to the closing of our event today. Of course, we would have liked to provide more of a detailed wrap-up of summary of what we've been discussing, but as always, we are very close to running out of time, if we didn't already. From UNDESA's perspective, we certainly hope this event has raised your interest in engaging with the Sulitest module. We hope that it has shown you the timeliness of the module in terms of contributing to the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, to the climate action framework, and of course also as a part of the UN Decade for Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. These are all important events. We need to keep the momentum going, as well said by Ambassador Thompson, our special envoy. There is no life on this planet without our ocean. It is time to engage. We really don't have time to waste. And at least this tool is one way of promoting, engaging, and improving education and awareness on the health and productivity of our ocean and its future. So it has been a great pleasure listening to all our speakers today. Thank you so much for attending and for being part of the event. And thank you to the many listeners and participants that are on our public site and that have engaged as well through the chat. I'm going to stop here, but before closing off, I would like to hand the floor to Aurélien for a few brief comments. Aurélien, over to you, please.
Thank you very much. Looking at the timing, I will be brief indeed. First, I want to thank very much once again UNDESA, Mercator Ocean International, and all the inspiring experts that contributed to this SDG14 module, and also the core team behind the logistics of this event and the project. From the lessons learned, I think we acknowledge that we humans are part of nature. We are all ocean citizens. We are connecting to ocean and we need to learn to be aware of the SDG 14. We need data and we need knowledge to be able to act on the ocean. Please use this module and we will have plenty of data to discuss for the next round of this discussion. And I will leave you by sharing this feeling. Maybe like me, you feel that we are reaching multiple tipping points at the moment as we are advancing into the decade of action. We need to accelerate. We need to connect all the fantastic initiatives that are out there to multiply our impact if we want to achieve a desirable future. This is what we are passionate about at Sulitest, and we welcome all synergies, cooperation that will allow to accelerate on this direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aurélien. The very last word for today is going to go to Pierre. Pierre, please do take the floor.
Thank you. Well, we are Friday, we're in July, and we are more than 100 taking time to share knowledge and connecting the ocean to citizens. And I just want to say thank you to you all, and also share my feeling, which is that, I mean, I'm surprised how easy it is to invite and then to have a yes when we propose to someone to set up such a session to connect citizens to the ocean knowledge. So it's really something which is inspiring. I just want to thank UNDESA and UN in general, if this is possible, because we are also starting this decade for ocean science, which could be a great framework to connect each other. And if we keep in mind that we have this science, citizen, and policy connection to organize, it will be great. And I said also thank you to the European Union, because frankly, for where I am, I can see how it is really a real opportunity we have here in Europe to contribute and to play to organize this work for the ocean. So thank you for the EU and for my colleagues in Europe, because now we are really connected to the rest of the world, which is great. Because Aurélien told us that we need now to go and to act, not only to talk, but to act. What I will do myself, maybe you could do the same over the weekend. I noticed that we said that 50% of the oxygen we breathe is from the ocean. 90% of the excess of heat is absorbed by the ocean, which is great for us. And 30% of the marine species are overfished. So I will share this information with the people I meet over the weekend, just to start to educate people something basics. And then I will invite partners, members of parliaments to take the test, because I believe it will be the next step. So thank you very much for you, Birgit, Aurélien, all the speakers, contributors, you today. It's a pleasure, and well, I feel good after this session, so thank you for this.
Thank you very much, Pierre. And a final thank you to all the people, especially at Sulitest and Mercator, who have worked tirelessly for many, many months to make this happen, and to our logistical support today. It's been a great pleasure. We hope you've all enjoyed the event. Please continue to engage, share the knowledge, and advocate for the ocean. Share the fact that we have this excellent tool with us, and we look forward to seeing you all again and to being engaged as we work towards the UN Ocean Conference and further to that. Enjoy the weekend coming up. It is only the beginning of the day in New York, but of course that is different in other places of the world. Thank you, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed the event. Enjoy the rest of the high-level political forum, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much. The event is closed.